Welcome to Dungeons and Downtime, the eagerly awaited podcast by one person. Thanks, Jeeves Osiris. Today I will eventually talk about death in D&D, but there's a lot to get through before that. Because I want to talk about what I've seen this week, or these past weeks, in the Dungeons and Dragons space. I was following Games Master's coverage of Forge of the Artificer, where he showed the contents pages, and I noticed airships was in there. And obviously I'm friends with Homie and the Dude who did Sky Zephyrs and the Wandering Tavern, and they sort of did sky fighting rules and things which were good. So I just wondered how close they will be, comparison wise, whether they would be better. I don't know. And I think it said they also had new Bastion rules, which I'm like, yeah, I'll take Bastion rules. That sounds good. I've not yet implemented that into my game, but we're not far off. Anyway, then news came through, didn't it, that the book is delayed because of a manufacturing problem. They've had their regular covered books in and their special covers in, and they've started to warp. Now, I've been in the printing industry since I was 15 and I'm 51 now. And I have seen sort of bowing on covers of very thin, cheap papered books. I haven't seen it on thick, hardcover books. Now these get covered with a plastic film under heat treatment, and when that shrinks, I guess that could... But I've never seen it. I've never seen it happen. So they don't want grief from us saying these books look crap. They ruined my collection because all my other books don't do that. And so that can't have been easy, but also they must have been like, look, this time we said we wouldn't let any errors go through. So everything's got pushed even further back to the end of the year. And I'm not that excited about that particular book anyway, but we'll just have to wait, won't we? Now, with all these reshuffles going on in the space, from Perkins and Crawford going to Daggerheart and stuff, it seems that a lot of products just suddenly came out of nowhere. But in the D&D space, I noticed some thumbnails like, this is the end of D&D, things are going downhill from here. And I just think about what Sly Flourish says on his podcast quite a lot. He's like, look, we own the books. We own our table, our game table. So it doesn't matter what happens in the space. It doesn't really affect our games. Now, if you're building for the games officially and selling stuff, I guess it might affect you. But most of us just play. And now that you have the books, you can play until you die. And they can try and sell you whatever product they want, but how they go about that is up to you to decide whether you opt in or opt out. The game is mostly about making it up yourself and improving things, so really, we're kind of untouchable, unless you run your games solely through D&D Beyond, and then you choose not to subscribe. Then you're screwed. It's a horrible model that we live in, isn't it? I've sold all my vinyl, all my CDs, all my tapes, in favour of subscribing to Apple services, and I own nothing, effectively. And that's just today's world, isn't it? I had 1,000 movies and now subscribe to Netflix. I have enough clutter with D&D. I just accept it. So anyway, I was on D&D Beyond. I bought Dragon Delves, which I've done one guide for as a water tester, towing the water, and I do plan on doing the rest. But I have noticed these new releases just are slow burns with you guys. I think the community at large isn't as excited about new things as I am. You're quite happy with what you have, or to come about it later, whereas I am, ooh, new, shiny, get it. Content, yeah, I admit it. And so to see the new starter set finally be announced, I was very excited, straight into the pre-order. And of course, YouTubers breaking down the news. And my one comment into the ring was, there's no DM screen. And you might have seen that comment on various other big YouTuber channels. Why is that a big deal? It's iconic. If I was a new player or DM to D&D or watch Stranger Things, I'd be like, oh, they sit behind that screen because it makes you look important. It's like wearing a crown. And then there isn't one. You've got to go buy that separately. That's a bit cheap. But what about all the other stuff they give you? Yeah, loads of tokens. Yeah, it's not unnecessary. The Essentials kit did a paper card DM screen. Absolutely put that in every box. Because with it being cards, it might get torn or damaged, and then so the next starter set you get a new one, fresh, brilliant. But seemingly with the official one, no. It's lovely though, it looks good. I can't wait for it. I'll be doing guides for it, yes, content. And I was super impressed with the Tales of the Valiant starter set that came out. Did that have a DM screen? No, it did not. It should have had. But it gave you minis, it gave you a lot more maps and things like that. Kind of squeezed through. Now also, while we're on it, Tales of the Valiant released their quick start free PDF for those who are trying to jump into it. It's 5e, but improved. As in, if you want stronger builds, they're just nudged up stat-wise better than 2014 D&D. You know, standard arrays higher, all the character builds are stronger. But my audience just doesn't seem to react to my Tales of the Valiant content like they do official D&D stuff. Now, Stranger Things, the new box set. I didn't buy the old one, I was given it because it was garbage. Now, it has a cool little Demogorgon miniature in it, but the adventure is more like a half shot than a one shot. Is that fair? Is that fair for me to say? I've not run it. I was going to have it run for me. My DM went, nah, not running that, it's rubbish. It was lacklustre, okay? It was lacklustre. This one looks colourful. It has a DM screen. Big tick for this guy. But it's also like semi-board game, card game. Hey, I'm in. I've ordered it. We'll see what it's like further down the line. Is it a cash-in? Sure. It's called business. Just like when I try to advertise my memberships, because this thing we are watching here is a little business. And I was told off, you ruined your video by mentioning your memberships. Well, sorry. That's how YouTube works. But that one comment has made me listen. I won't mention it as much, fine. I bow down to the viewers. Now, other good news came out. Roll and Play Press announced One Shot Wonders 2. Much against my better judgment, where it should have been 2 Shot Wonders. So they were slightly longer, or you could have extended all the ones you did in the first book. But too late now. One Shot Wonders Volume 2 it is. And I am lucky enough, obviously, to have discount codes for Roll and Play Press, very proudly so as well, and they have said they're going to afford me a little bit of an early adventure from that, which I will cover and hopefully you will engage with. I also made a video recently for Incredible Creatures, which is a bunch of artists, I think, who are doing a Kickstarter for more Daggerheart monsters, which are well needed. First to get a monster manual out for that sort of wins. So yeah, starting with the art and saying, oh, now go stat this up, somebody else in the department, is good, because I think the description comes first, doesn't it? There's this thing with long, slimy legs and eyes on the end of tendrils, and you're like, what is it? What is it? I don't know, but it's cool. Right, what does it do? You know, I hope that does well, and I know it's already passed, so that will be funded. You might be aware that I bought Dragonheart Bundle, which I've yet to fully cover. I am running the one-shot from it for my home game at the moment, and this sort of almost grimdark kind of vibe with twisted monsters made me put Monkey DM's Steinhard's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt, which is basically Dungeons and Dragons does Bloodborne, if you've ever played that, which was kind of a precursor to Elden Ring. And my players are really on board for that. Now, I was going to buy the couple of £100 box, but it's sold out. So I've ended up ordering a dodgy bent copy off of eBay without all the extra handouts, which I was looking forward to. I'm bad with money. That's it, really. And I hovered over Crooked Moon, which is a similar twisted, horror, Feywildy kind of looking thing, which I'll probably get eventually, you know. I've always got too many video series to make in my head. That's my problem. Alright, final bit of news. Forgotten Realms, the 2 books, the covers were announced. They look lovely. Will there be a delay? Who knows? Will they be worth buying? I don't know. Will I buy them? Yes. But we had a Forgotten Realms book out before, and it has a lot of interesting information in it about the geography of the worlds. But I wonder what they will actually do with this 2-split book, which I'll need to buy both of. I just look forward to finding out what's actually in them. I presume it'll go with the same vibe of the DMG, like, this is for beginners, let's walk you through this where we're at right now. And that's basically all the news I have. But did you see Dungeons and Discourse addressing the allegations video? As I watched that, kind of saying to Bob the World Builder, hey, come on, that's a bit unfair. I make these videos like this because people watch them, and I try hundreds of variations that don't work. I'm playing the YouTube game, I'm finding what works. And I felt sorry for her. I was like, okay, yes. You know, I'd made that thumbnail myself that did really well, and a fraction of me was waiting for her to say, and this little nobody also had a go, but thankfully, she didn't see me. So I got a comment on my community page from Nathan DM saying, nice. And that is the first time anyone has communicated to me off their own back. So thanks, Nathan. My community begins. And also, Jan Allen, I think it is, or Jan Allen, said, here's one for you. I made this years ago and it was one of the best magical items I ever created. It brought out so much role-playing from players that it is remembered years later by all of us. It's called the Ring of Illusionary Wishes. Its purpose is to grant whatever the wearer wishes. The wearer of the ring completely believes the wish came true. They see in their reality the effects of the wish. However, it's a fake wish that has no real-world application other than to make its wearer believe the false narrative. Example, the wearer believes that they have brought a friend killed in a dungeon back to life, but only they see the friend and only they interact with them. Everyone else just sees them talking to themselves. That is fantastic. I laughed out loud when I saw that. This is why we don't really rely on WotC to provide stuff for us. We are better than they are when we put our minds to it. And now death. Yes, death in D&D. It's a crucial part of the game, isn't it? And in my polls on the channel, let's have a look. Okay, so we have a PC dies. How do you get them back up? And 67% of you said, I don't. But if you can see what I was implying, it's like you want to bring them back because you think, ooh, they probably should live on, this character. I'm not happy if they die now. I didn't mean to kill them. Do you use like a god intervention and you say, your god comes through and says, one last chance, buddy? Or does a devil spring up and say, you can come back, but you've got to do this thing for me, kill 3 people by the next red moon every month? And so your comments. Mick Chaos. Depends on the campaign and the character. Usually it's up to the rest of the party to try and find a way to bring their comrade back. Or there is some other reason the character is brought back instead. Yes, healing is obviously before death, as it were. Your allies are meant to bring you back, but what if they died and you were thinking, ooh, is it up to me? How would you go about it? That's what I meant. Depends on the campaign. I'm running Curse of Strahd, so the Vestiges would offer them a deal. Yes, it's like a bonus life in a video game. That's what I was getting at. I would let a character roll on a D whatever dice for divine intervention if they failed their last death save. Although I have never actually had a player character get that far, someone else has always cast healing, yes. Crashing Potato Engineer thought I was talking about a personal computer, which I was like, yeah, if your PC dies, we're on the wrong side here. Animate dead, sure. And my next death question, what about when your players have created a character and they go, I don't like this guy, I'm struggling as a rogue, I hate it, I want to go back to my spell slinging characters. Can I just kill this one and start a new character? You have gone 50-50. Yes, they should be able to do what they want. It's a game. Or, no, that feels cheap. We have to play your character to the full. Now, my instinct in my brain is everyone should be able to play any character to their enjoyment. With your imagination, come on, use your imagination. How can you make this memorable for yourself? But when a young lad asked me, can I just not be this anymore? It's not fun. I'm missing all the time, he said. And I went, yeah, whatever. You can. You can completely be a different guy. It's a game. We're all sat around a table. But I don't think every table would like that. If a 45-year-old guy sat down at my table and went, I don't like this one, can I play something else? I'd be like, well, not really. But if you're just going to stand there and get hit until I kill you, then I guess you might as well. I'd be disappointed with it. Because death is a mechanical consequence of this game, isn't it? It's a signal that your choices matter. If you die, it's usually you didn't run away, you didn't check for traps, you didn't buy health potions. That's my table. And as I was trying to get at, it's not necessarily an end point, it's a storytelling tool to have them come back with some sort of changed character, which is vital, a turning point. Death can create tension and up the stakes, as long as it's not overused. Every character that plays at my table will have like a 1 death pass. I'll say, look, do you want to die now? Or I can bring you back with some explanation. Of course, going out in a blaze of glory, I think, should be allowed. And I keep meaning to implement, okay, you are dead, but I'll allow you to fire off anything that you've got left in your character attacks going out in a blaze of glory. It'll even allow you to just give a speech in that moment. But you are dead. You know, unless you're falling into a trap, which, let's be honest, doing my DM guide to Tomb of Annihilation, this is what had death on my mind. That some of that is so unfair and instant that it's like, oof, that's cruel. Now, how do players react to death in your games? Mine is, let's loot their body as fast as possible. Let's not even do any dialogue, you know? It's just like, yeah, you died, Steve, but your character, Elvish Presley, well, I'm going to loot him. And that's not wrong, that's not wrong. It's just that I imagine a more adult, longer playing table would understand, this is going to be a cool moment to give him a send-off. Let's bury him. I'm going to put this with him. I'm going to say a few words in character. I'm not going to let this character die and be forgotten instantly. Now, of course, there are mechanics in the game for let's take the corpse to a big city, hire a cleric, and bring them back in the next time frame, in the day, year, I don't know. I guess it's important to talk about death in the session 0 and say, look, this is going to be hard, or this is how I handle death. You've got an extra life if you wish to take it. Now, a character's death, I guess, could be used to inspire a quest. That seems like a worthy cause. We have to take this sword back to his betrothed. And maybe you want to explore that emotion of loss in the game. You know, the quest being, I will not die until I've given this sword back to the family. But death isn't as end totality as real life, is it? It's like gods can just bring you back with a click of their fingers. So what would the attitude to death really be? I guess amongst the commoners, they would probably just die. Can't afford to be healed. But adventurers, hey, I know a guy. Let's go revitalise him. How do you run death at your table? Now you know what I'm on about. What are the dumbest deaths you've seen at your table? Or have you got a character that goes down all the time and just won't stay dead? Well, that's it for this episode. Let's see what happens in the intervening time before the next one, and if there'll be a next one. If this gets more than 200 views, there will be a next one. Anyway, right, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you later.